The girl they couldn't replace. The first time I walked through those gates, I knew I didn't belong there. Everything about the school screamed wealth. The polished marble floors, the towering glass windows, the perfectly trimmed lawns that looked like they were combed every morning. Even the air felt different, like it carried a quiet reminder that everyone there came from money, from power, from a world I had only ever seen from the outside. And then there was me, a scholarship student. The word followed me like a shadow, though no one said it out loud at first. It was in the way people glanced at my slightly worn shoes, in the way they paused when I mentioned where I lived, in the way conversations shifted when I joined a group. I had expected it to be worse, honestly. I had prepared myself for cruelty, for isolation, but something unexpected happened. I got along with everyone, not instantly, not magically, but slowly, naturally. I learned how to listen before speaking. I learned how to laugh at the right moments. I learned how to carry myself with quiet confidence, even when I felt small inside. I didn't try to compete with their money or their lifestyle. I simply existed as myself, and somehow that worked. I became the girl everyone knew. Not the richest, not the prettiest, not the most powerful, but the one who could talk to anyone. The one who remembered birthdays. The one who helped with assignments. The one who could sit with the popular group at lunch and still spend time with the quiet kids in the library. I didn't have a place because I fought for it. I had a place because I built it. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere. Until she came. Her name was Arya. She arrived halfway through the year, and from the moment she stepped into class, everything shifted. It wasn't just her looks, though she was undeniably beautiful, with sharp features and an effortless elegance that made people turn their heads. It wasn't just her clothes either, though they were clearly expensive, carefully chosen, perfectly styled. It was the way she carried herself, confident, calculated, observant. And when the teacher introduced her as a scholarship student, I felt something strange twist inside me. Another one? I smiled, of course. Everyone did. I even clapped lightly with the rest of the class, watching her as she gave a polite nod, her eyes scanning the room. And then, just for a second, they landed on me. It wasn't a friendly glance. It wasn't curious or uncertain. It was measuring. That was the moment I knew. She wasn't here to fit in. She was here to take over. At first, she played it perfectly. She was kind. Too kind. She laughed at everyone's jokes, complimented people just enough, and never overstepped. She studied hard, answered questions confidently, and within a week, teachers were already praising her. I watched it happen the way you watch a storm forming in the distance, slowly, quietly, inevitably. She started sitting with different groups at lunch, learning everyone's dynamics. She observed who held influence, who followed, who mattered. And then she began placing herself strategically, like she was playing a game no one else even realized existed. And then she came to me. "I've heard about you," she said one afternoon, sliding into the seat across from me in the library. I looked up from my book, surprised. "Good things, I hope." She smiled. It didn't quite reach her eyes. "Of course, you're well-liked." There was something in the way she said it that made it sound less like a compliment and more like a challenge. "Well," I shrugged lightly. "I try to be nice." "That's not all it takes," she replied, tilting her head slightly. "People don't just like someone for being nice. There's always a reason." I held her gaze, sensing the hidden meaning beneath her words. Maybe they just like me for who I am. For a brief moment, her expression flickered, like she hadn't expected that answer. And then she smiled again. "Maybe," she said. But I could tell she didn't believe it. From that day on, everything changed. It started small. A friend who used to sit with me every day suddenly started spending more time with her. Another friend began mentioning how amazing Arya was at presentations. Group conversations shifted, subtly placing her at the center. She wasn't forcing anything. She was replacing me, not directly, not openly, but piece by piece. And the worst part, no one noticed. Or maybe they did, but they didn't see it the way I did. Because Arya was flawless. She never spoke badly about me, never excluded me openly, never did anything that could be called wrong. She simply became better. Better dressed, better spoken, better prepared. And slowly, I started to feel it. That old feeling, the one I thought I had left behind, not belonging. There were moments when I questioned myself. Was I imagining it? Was I just being insecure? Maybe she wasn't trying to replace me at all. Maybe she was just being herself. But then there were moments that made it clear, like the day we were assigned a group project. Before, I would have been the obvious choice. People would have turned to me naturally, expecting me to lead, to organize, to bring everything together. This time, they turned to her. "Arya's really good at this kind of thing," someone said casually. And just like that, I was no longer the center. I was just another member. I smiled, of course. I didn't argue. I didn't make it a big deal. But inside, something cracked. Still, I didn't hate her. That was the strange part. I didn't hate her because I understood her. More than anyone else in that school, I understood exactly what she was doing and why. Because I had done the same thing. Not in the same calculated way, not with the same sharp precision, but I had built my place there too. I had learned how to navigate people, how to connect, how to be accepted. The difference was, I had done it to belong. She was doing it to win. And those are two very different things. The turning point came during the annual school event. It was the biggest event of the year. Performances, competitions, speeches. Everyone participated, and it was where reputations were made. Arya signed up for everything: debate, drama, presentation. She excelled in all of them. And for the first time since she arrived, I saw something in people's eyes. Not just admiration, expectation. They expected her to be the best, the same way they once expected me. On the day of the final presentation, the auditorium was packed. Students, teachers, even parents were there. The air buzzed with excitement. Arya went before me. She was perfect. Her voice was clear, her argument sharp, her presence commanding. When she finished, the applause was loud, almost overwhelming. I stood backstage listening to it, feeling my heart pound. For a moment, doubt crept in. What if she really was better? What if I was just temporary? But then I took a breath, and I remembered something. I wasn't there to be better than her. I was there to be myself. When my name was called, I walked onto that stage with steady steps. No perfect outfit, no calculated charm. Just me. I spoke the way I always did. Honest, clear, real. I didn't try to impress. I didn't try to outshine her. I just connected. And as I looked into the audience, I saw it. People weren't just listening, they were feeling. When I finished, the applause wasn't louder than hers, but it was different. Warmer, real. And in that moment, I understood something she didn't. You can replace someone's position. You can copy their actions. You can even surpass their achievements. But you cannot replace who they are. After the event, as people gathered around, I saw her standing at a distance, watching me. Our eyes met, and for the first time, she looked uncertain. Not defeated, not broken, just unsure. Later, she approached me again. "You were good," she said. "Thank you," I replied. There was a pause, and then she sighed softly. "I thought I could take your place." I didn't react. I just waited. She looked at me, her expression more honest than I had ever seen it. "But I can't, can I?" I shook my head gently. "You don't need to." For a moment, she seemed confused. And then, slowly, she smiled. Not the perfect practice smile, a real one. And just like that, the competition ended. Not with a victory, but with understanding. Because in the end, there was never just one place. There was space for both of us. She stopped trying to replace me, and I stopped feeling like I had to prove anything. We didn't become best friends, but we became something better. Two people who understood what it meant to fight for a place in a world that wasn't built for us, and chose, in the end, not to fight each other.